Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you?
Good morning.
How was your weekend? Great?
Yeah.
Good. Tundun? Victoria. You know why I'm calling you Victoria again. I do. How are you? You look lovely.
Oh, thank you, darling. So do you.
Thank you. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Morning, Oji. How's it going? How was your weekend? Trust you had a good one?
Yes, I had a really good weekend. Thank you. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We begin what's trending in recognition of Nigerian doctor Onyema Agwagwu for the vital role he has played in the fight against COVID-19. Last week, the Nigerian doctor was named as one of the key figures who led the pharmaceutical company Pfizer to develop the first effective COVID-19 vaccine. Dr. Onyema is an associate professor of medicine and infectious disease specialist at Yale School of Medicine. He is also the director of the HIV clinical trials program at the school. In 2003, he graduated from the University of Calabar in southern Nigeria with a degree in medicine. While speaking to ABC News on the vaccine, he expressed his excitement on their achievements and gave this advice for the people that may be hesitant to get the vaccine even after it's approved. Let's take a listen.
While we've been celebrating a lot about having an effective vaccine, and frankly, we've run out of emojis in the scientific community to celebrate the good news, but tempering that optimism and excitement is that there's quite a lot of vaccines to be expressed. And I've also experienced that as a frontline researcher and clinician, that even healthcare workers and community tend to express that hesitancy for vaccines. So a lot of work really needs to be done to reassure the community, and I hope I'm doing so also, appearing on your program to really reassure the public that even though the vaccine trials have proceeded at an unprecedented pace, but they're being done carefully, thoughtfully, with the right amount of oversight, and that if a vaccine receives emergency use authorization by the FDA, that it's passed through all the safety checks and the efficacy numbers are real, and that should really reassure the public.
I cannot express how excited I am for all our Nigerians who are doing excellently well. Remember back in May, we had Babafemi Taiwo, who led that study for remdesivir drug. Really excited. I mean, it's a great milestone right now with this whole COVID-19 vaccines coming out, even though there's going to be a lot more vaccines to, really help curb this infection. I think that we're getting there, and I'm really, really proud of him. He's a Malabite. Dr. Abati, just like you.
Well, I think it's good that we keep having these great stories in different fields of human endeavor, be it basketball or politics or science, of Nigerians doing well abroad. And oftentimes we point out that many of these people were made abroad, but we've also seen cases of people who were homemade, as in the case of Dr. Agwagwu, who has had a very distinguished career from the University of Calabar. His parents is the son of Professor Jerome Agwagwu, who was also at a time secretary to the state government of Abia State, and then the family relocated to the United States. And he went on to Yale, where in the last 5 years, he served as the director of the HIV program at the Yale School of Medicine. And he has also served in Rwanda. He has also been to Liberia. So he has had very great experience as a scientist. And in the course of these vaccine trials, he's been involved in the investigative trials for remdesivir. He's also a scholar, he's a teacher. And yes, you made a point that he's a Malabite.
Great Malabite.
A product of the University of Calabar, a product of the Republic of Malabo. And all of us who are from that republic, Malabites and Malabreses, wherever they may be, yes, we are very proud of him. I'm sure Emmanuel Efeni, who is also here in Arise News, and Kayode Komolafe KK, who is in this day, will join us, and other Malabites, in saying this one is one of our own. But going beyond all of that, you could see the president described Nigerians as diamonds. Our biggest asset is the human resource that we have. Now, he got his basic education, he had basic university education. I would have loved to see a situation whereby Nigeria will be able to keep these talents at home, create research laboratories, upscale our efforts in science, in research. There used to be, at a time, in this same country, that will produce scientists. I mean, Professor Osuntokun, who was a major brain scientist, he didn't have to settle down in the United States to be able to achieve a lot. Other, professors like that, they did their research here, either into sickle cell or into guinea worm, and they were able to contribute to the international search for knowledge. But today, for you to excel, either as a basketballer or as a sports person or as a politician, you have to relocate abroad. This Nigeria used to be a place that was recognized internationally as a center of excellence. Scholars, researchers used to come here. Now it's the reverse. We are the ones now going even to Ethiopia, to go and, achieve. I think that we have to realize the quality of human beings that we have here. The average Nigerian is hardworking, is ambitious, is willing to learn, and if we provide him the enabling environment, he will touch the sky. We even have people in NASA. Can you believe that?
Yes,
one of the leading scientists in NASA is South Africa, is a Nigerian. In South Africa, many of the leading doctors are Nigerians. Someone once told me a story, a retired ambassador, that he was ill and he didn't want to stay in Nigeria. He went to South Africa. When he got there, they said, oh, we have the best doctor in Africa who can handle this matter. When the doctor showed up, it turned out to be a Nigerian name. He said, no, I didn't leave Nigeria to come and meet another Nigerian doctor here. They told him, well, he's Nigerian and he's the best.
And he's the best, really.
And the guy fixed him. Did he have to go to South Africa to be fixed by a Nigerian who could have been given the best opportunities in his own country? So congratulations, Dr. Ogwagwu. We're very proud of you. Great Malabite!
He's a great Malabite, Tundu, as we see all these. Only just Friday, we read about 8 of those players from the United States of the basketball, Tundu. Isn't it so amazing?
The good news about Nigerian excellence is constant, and we're very proud of him. I mean, Rufai made me a skeptic where the Pfizer vaccine is concerned, but suddenly I find myself a bit more persuaded about the vaccine to see one of our own at the helm of affairs, of course.
All right, Rufai, your take on the story.
Great Malabite.
Action.
So proud, Dr. Abaji. I can see that, really. All right, should we take another story? Well, this time in Nigeria. Over the weekend, reactions trailed the Nigerian Army's admittance that its soldiers took live ammunition to the Lekki toll gate, where they opened fire at peaceful NSAS protesters on October 20th. The commander of Military Intelligence 81 Division of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Ibrahim Ahmed Taiwo, revealed this on Saturday while being cross-examined at the Lagos State Judicial Panel set up to investigate the shooting incident at the toll gate. Brigadier General Taiwo, however, maintained that no one was killed at the toll gate and that the live ammunition taken to the toll gate was meant to protect the soldiers against suspected hoodlums. Let's take a quick listen to the general.
42 p.m.
The soldiers will be given both live and blank bullets. Okay. In this particular case, we saw that these protests had been infiltrated by some hoodlums. They were peaceful protesters, no doubt, but they were also the hoodlums who sought to take advantage. That is why they were armed with blank bullets in addition, blank ammunition, in addition to the live they were carrying.
Well, in the meantime, the Nigerian Army has dismissed claims that it contradicted its evidence of firing blank ammunition when it deployed live ammunition to disperse NSAS peaceful protests on October 20th. The Army's Public Relations Director, Major Oshoba Olani, admitted that it is part of the rules of engagement for the Army to carry both live and blank ammunition for internal security operations. He further explained that the use of live ammunition in their rules of engagement depends on the degree of the threat at the operational area. Let's take some reactions. Well, one user, in an attempt to summarize the contradictory statements by the Army since the Lekki shooting incident, wrote, "We didn't deploy any soldier. We deployed soldiers, but they shot in the air. We deployed soldiers, but they shot blanks, no live rounds. With deployed soldiers, they had blank rounds in addition to live rounds. Well, another user, lawyer and activist, Okpe Akinyode, wrote, "Just so we don't forget, Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, said hoodlums wearing army uniform may be behind the Lekki toll gate shooting. I agree with the AGF. The Nigerian Army conducted itself as hoodlums when the army shot and killed peaceful protesters, but turned around to deny the killings." CCTV. I mean, this is the conversation. It's not going to stop. It's one story after another. Of course, we all know that the army will always have live ammunition. There's no point coming out with that statement. It should have come out right after when they released the statement that whether they shot blank bullets or live ammunition in the air. This is just following the CNN investigation. There is no point in what they're saying at this point. Okay, so you took live ammunition to the crime scene, right? How did those live bullets find themselves on the floor? Tundu.
The whole thing is just too convoluted as far as I'm concerned. It makes no sense at this point. Yes, the military have to have live ammunition depending on the level of threat, as they said, but peaceful protesters, what level of threat was that? And then I do worry, based on the initial statements, if at all that is true, that who they sent was trainee soldiers. Maybe there was some kind of mix-up. Maybe they did not properly assess the level of threat and then opened fire using live ammunition on peaceful protesters, on armed protesters who were sitting down singing the national anthem. Maybe it's because of their lack of experience that they really used a sledgehammer to kill a fly. I don't know. But what we do know is that there's no way it can be argued convincingly that live ammunition was shot in the air and there were no fatalities. Gravity is a law. What goes up will come down. If you shoot bullets into the air, it will come down and it will enter into somebody and kill them. There's no way that we did not have casualties.
Now,
I'm sorry, there just
Dr.
isn't.
Abati, is the fact that they're maintaining that no life was lost. Remember that the Lagos State governor has, maintained that there were 2 persons that died from this incident. What is your take on that?
Well, I mean, the Lagos governor says somebody got blunt force trauma to the head and that the other person died away from the place. But the military, they keep going back and forth. They've said, for example, that the soldiers that were sent there were not trainee soldiers, but that they were soldiers in training. And, the way that is explained is that these were regular soldiers who go through regular training courses. And it just happened that at that particular time, they had to be deployed from the training that they were undergoing, and not that they were depot recruits.
All right.
Because when that point was first made on this program, there was a lot out there trying to clarify. But the military, they found themselves in a situation whereby they have to keep clarifying their position. The military general was asked, okay, why did the military lie in the first place? Oh, we were still investigating, so we needed to say something. And then, okay, did you go with live bullets? Initially, it was, we used only blank bullets. And you recall that the last time we discussed this, I said they went there with 2 kinds of bullets, because if you look at the casings, 7.62 mm and 9 mm, and if you look at those casings that were found on the floor there, some former military officers said, look, these are live bullets. These are blank bullets. So now that has been confirmed, that they actually went there with live bullets, and they have confirmed it. Now, soldiers are not trained to maim. We all know that. They don't joke around. Their training is different. But the lesson of it is that even when soldiers are drafted into internal security operations, I guess they themselves must be embarrassed. Ordinarily, they would love to stay in their barracks or go to the war front and not be drafted into internal security operations. And I think what we need to do is all of this that is happening should occasionally rethinking of the security process within Nigeria. It was an instance end police brutality protest. But is it possible to empower the police in such a way that, look, you won't have on a regular basis to drag in the military to come and handle, internal security operations? And secondly, this thing they call rules of operation, rules of engagement. We don't always see our security agencies, whether it is the military or the DSS or the civil defense, respecting these rules of engagement. So to many Nigerians, it's just some kind of, phrase, fanciful phrase. They assume that once they say, oh, we have rules of engagement, we respect rules of engagement. Okay, what exactly constitutes, the rules of engagement? Who determines those rules? And who monitors the fact that those rules are observed? At the last sitting of the Judicial Panel of Inquiry, more videos came out, revealing so many other things. Now, I hope that the Judicial Panel of Inquiry in Lagos will be very thorough, in investigating all the data, all the evidence that is coming before it, and will be able to tell us the truth and ensure that justice is done. And it is reassuring to see that about 30 other states have also set up judicial panels of inquiry. But 6 states have said they don't have any case of police brutality in their states, and they've not received any petitions. I hope they are telling the truth. But the major challenge that we face in this country is really security and also human rights. And then this relationship between security agencies and the people. The security agencies must go away with the, one basic minimum. They are there to serve the people, not to kill them, no matter the provocation. All these permutations about blank bullet in the air, live bullet and all that, it just shows some of the things we still need to work on. And, now is the police. It looks like now is the military that is carrying the burden.
Really, meanwhile, in commemoration of 1 month after the Lekki shootings, these patriotic Nigerians dropped by the Lekki toll gate over the weekend and decorated the crime scene with flowers. Rufai, your take on this story?
Very, very emotional moment, in commemoration of people that lost their lives there. Very emotional, very touching moment. In fact, in all of this, we've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot as a nation and as individuals. At first, it was said it was fake news, that the army didn't go to the Lekki toll gate at all. That was what we first heard. And from it being fake news that the army didn't go to the Lekki toll gate, the army is saying, okay, they went, they carried live and blank ammunition and everything. You see, I said something last week when we talked about this. I said, we are working from 3 scenarios, unknown. When we started, there were many things we didn't know. Known, unknown, there were some things we know and we didn't know. Known, we're beginning to get there. And we'll still learn more in all of this. But please, most importantly, let the truth prevail. Because this just pretty much looks at like a quadratic equation to me, where A, B, and C are known numbers and X is unknown. So we are looking for X now. But evidence will come out. And you're already seeing that. We started to hear another tone after that CCTV was played. We heard things like provocation. Because I watched the session. I took 2-3 hours of my time on Saturday to watch that session. At first, we heard, there was provocation against the army. They were hoodlums. When we watched the CCTV camera, we didn't see any pelting of the military ground with stone. Even the part that caught it for me was when Brigadier General Taiwo did say, were pelted with stones. They said, what's the casualty? He said only one soldier had a casualty, that his lip tore as a result of the stone the hoodlums pelted them. So if they were pelted with stones, and it was just one person's lip that tore as a result of the stones the hoodlums pelted them, that led to reacting that way with force, and you start to ask a lot of questions. At first, we heard we were pelted with stones. The other time, we heard, they were aggressive towards us. So in a fell swoop, statements changed. From the initial one we heard, the night it happened, that Arise TV played that video of a shooting, and we saw fake news on it. And probably we were sanctioned because of that video. Until we now saw that that's not the case. So more will come out. But I just pray we have the integrity to follow this through and come clean. And I say this not because of us, but it's because of the generation yet unborn. I think it was Barack Obama that said in Kenya that we have not inherited this generation from our forebears. We only look after it for the generations yet unborn. So 20, 40 years down the line, what would an average Nigerian say about this episode? And that's why we should all tell the truth and come clean as regards that.
I love the word
Like
integrity that you used.
I would still say an incident happened in Lekki, and may God help us learn the lessons from this, most importantly, to be able to heal as a nation, because this nation is on its knees and it needs healing.
Right. We'll take another story. In Mozambique, where the government has expelled 2 police instructors after being found guilty of impregnating 15 students at the police training school. Investigation revealed how the 2 police trainers harassed the women and lured them into having relationships for favorable terms. According to the country's justice minister, the policemen were expelled from the corporation as a result of accumulation of disciplinary proceedings that were instituted against them. Reports indicate that about 200 police officers have been expelled from the corporation between January and October this year over several illegal acts. Now, that's a rightful disciplinary, action. I mean, I don't know how long the investigation took, but expelling them, I thought that was the right thing. As opposed to, we had that conversation about suspending people based on investigation. But how did this thing happen? 15 women? I was shocked when I read the story.
The shocking thing is that the women got pregnant.
Yes.
Unfortunately, sexual harassment is not shocking, yes. And men do tend to have situations where they can abuse their authority over women. But this is shocking because they clearly did not use any contraception whatsoever. No. And I wonder what the child support requirements in Mozambique are. Who's going to take care of these 15 babies?
But 2 men, though.
And then now they've been expelled. They're unemployed, I imagine. How are they going to take care of their babies? Because they had better take care of their babies.
Yes.
It's like this. In fact, the calculation, according to the NGO that is pushing this matter in Maputo, is that the number may even be more than 15.
Of course.
So these 2 police trainers, they were really out there to exploit their position of power. But many years ago, maybe a decade ago, the police in Mozambique, they did a strategic survey in terms of gender equality within the police service in Mozambique. And they discovered that there were only just about 7% of women within the police. So they then decided that more women should be recruited and that there should be equality. So over the years, the percentage of women within the police in Mozambique increased. But what is now demonstrated here, with 2 men impregnating, over 15 police recruits, just shows part of the challenge that you face. Now, there's a UN manual for what should be the treatment of police women, which is an international standard. And that does not, it forbids violence against women, it forbids sexual harassment, it forbids any kind of gender discrimination, even when the woman is, a trainee. But in this particular case now, the ladies are alleging that they got impregnated because they were harassed by these 2 men. So you ask the question, what is the age of these female police recruits? Are they below the age of consent or above the age of consent?
There's another argument.
Is there a mechanism in place within the police in Mozambique where they could have reported to higher authorities if they were harassed by those who were supposed to train them? Is there a case of rape? Because in this particular case, rape was not established. What was established is sexual harassment. And from sexual harassment, we have these protruding bellies. So I think that, it should also be a wake-up call, even while trying to ensure discipline, for the police authorities in Mozambique to put a system in place whereby, this kind of thing will not repeat itself. In female sexuality, one of the things, NGOs teach is negotiating skills, including condom negotiating skills. Could that have been a relevant thing here? Another thing, that they focus on is female reproductive decision-making process, whereby women are trained and educated and empowered to be able to make decisions about their own reproductive health system. So for, this particular report, which looks like, the police trainers were just throwing, things around, and women were just catching pregnancy almost like a bullet hitting the right place. There's something curious about it.
No, but
I support the idea.
Exchange for some sort of favorable terms. So if the harassment was there because, oh, you know what, let's do this because I'll promote you.
These are trainees. These are trainees. They are in training. They have not even been commissioned yet. You know, so the story looks very curious to me. But I think there must be certain steps that the police authorities in Mozambique themselves can take as they seek to promote gender equality in terms of the structure of the police in Mozambique.
Yes, good point. Rufai, your take on the story?
For me, it's quite very sad because yet again, it shows the very despicable place a woman is put in society. Because they are trainees, that's why a police officer can ride over them and do this point-and-kill job he has done, which is quite very sad. I mean, we should start to introspect. And for me, I would extend it even further. It just goes to show that patriarchal nature of African society, where the woman is seen as the commodity, but because she's under you and you have power, you can subject her to this, you know, despite her wishes, and go ahead and have children or impregnate her. This should be thoroughly investigated. I mean, if this police officer wanted to impregnate people or go around with the sexual perfidy, why don't he go get his wife or somebody else's girlfriend? Why women under him? For me, the part that scares me is the power play. The first question I'll ask, are they of equal powers? No. He's a trainee officer. This woman is under him. So the power play is not balanced, and it shouldn't be accepted in any way, shape, or form. We should come out and speak more for women and the rights of women. Because you see, if we have an equitable society, it's for the benefit of all of us.
All right, we'll take our final story in the United Kingdom, where a petition signed by over 220,000 individuals requesting the UK government to sanction Nigeria for alleged violations of human rights will be deliberated today. The deliberation, which can be watched on the UK Parliament's YouTube channel, will address the requests which came in the aftermath of the nationwide EndSARS protests and the Lekki shootings. Well, the British government expressed deep concerns by the violence that took over the peaceful protests, which led to the loss of lives. On July 6th, the British government established the global human rights sanctions regime by laying regulations in Parliament under the Sanctions and Anti-Money Laundering Act 2018, which empowers the UK government to hold to account those involved in serious human rights violations or abuses. I'm all for this story. I mean, I think that sanctions should be in place for this whole thing.
I really don't.
I am.
Because it's your average Nigerian who suffers the most, and they had nothing to do with these abuses. I think if anybody is to be sanctioned, it should be individuals who are found to be culpable. Sanctions should be imposed on them, like what we had recently with visa restrictions and what have you. That for me is in order, but not general sanctions. Because if you look at what happened in Iran and how the poor, the poorest of the poor, those that suffer, were already in a recession, people are still staggering after COVID-19. Absolutely not, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but how long will it take to identify the individuals?
So let it be targeted.
Yes.
It's not right.
No, the point that Tundun has made is exactly the point. This is not targeting sovereign states. The spirit of the UK position on human rights is to identify individuals who may have violated, human rights provisions under international law. And the debate, this is not the first time that a particular situation in a particular country will be debated. In September, I think it was Belarus, that was debated after the elections in Belarus, and there was a lot of protest, there was thuggery, there was clampdown on the rights of the people. And all of this is consistent with the international order. And it's a subtle reminder that you can't stay in your country and abuse the rights of other people because you have power, or be negligent in protecting the rights of your people and assume that you will get away with it. In the US, they have the Lee Law, which is about human rights. And then there's the Global Magnitsky Act, which is also a human rights provision. And in the aftermath of this October 20 Lekki incident. We have seen some Nigerians who have gone all the way to the International Criminal Court. And the International Criminal Court at The Hague also says it's going to look at the Nigerian situation. Now, it's interesting. This is going to be on YouTube later this evening, I think 7 to 9 p.m., Nigerian time, I guess. And it will be interesting to see, how the international community, beyond CNN, BBC, that we have been quoting, reflects on what has happened in Nigeria in the context of end SARS. But I hope that there will also be an opportunity for persons that are identified maybe to be given an opportunity to identify, to defend themselves, because they're going to be looking at specific officers. Some of these soldiers from 81 Div will probably be identified. Policemen will probably be identified. Policymakers who drop the ball will probably be identified. And there could be recommendations to the UK government to say, these persons are persona non grata and are responsible for this in Nigeria, and the UK should take this position with regard to those persons. So it's not going to be a sanction against all of us as Nigerians. Right. People will be held culpable for their negligence and for their violation of basic rules of international survival.
Sure. Rufai, your take on the story real quick.
For me, yes, that's good the UK is doing this. But most importantly, I want to ask, what has the Human Rights Commission done as regards all of this that has happened in the last 1 month in Nigeria? I want to hear from them. Yeah, the sitting Human Rights Commission, what are they saying as regards all that has happened? Are they waiting on the judicial panel? Is that it? Or are they not saying anything about it? Or have they said it and I didn't catch it? I want to know most importantly.
They issued a statement, condemning police brutality also, the killings and all of that. And, I think the present DG of the National Human Rights Commission has been quite forthright in speaking up. Anyway, thank you very much, Oji. Thank you for another exciting...
Yes.
I just wanted to say something about what Rufai said. I get your point, Rufai, not always rushing to our previous colonial masters like we're completely inept ourselves. I get that point. Well, thank you.
Yeah, but we're the ones that are filing the petition. It's not just us running against them. Also the people in the UK as well. And the UK.
If they file petitions internationally, they imagine that sanctions, international sanctions will be more effective.
Yeah. Yes, that point remains, but so does mine. We can't keep running to them because they don't come running to us. So, that's just the fact of the matter.
It's a global war.
Yes, but it's still the fact of the matter. We should not be doing that.
Anyway, thank you, Oji.
Good. Thank you.